Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to a new week of Ascended Success Academy. And I'm so excited because if you were able to catch last month's round robin table discussion, whatever we want to call it, whatever hits your spicy brain, all three of us were on last month. And I'm so excited to welcome back not only my good friend DeeDee, but also Kim as well. So thank you guys for hanging out with us on this week's podcast. I'm excited. Y'all, if y'all, hopefully y'all paid attention to last month's because we had a lot of good things that we shared and a lot of insight, and it was really cool just being able to hear back from all of us and like our growing experiences and things that, we've learned in our business like in the past and things that we worked on currently, and it was just filled with a lot of good stuff. So if you haven't already, I highly recommend, obviously, after this one. So don't skip this one. After this one, go back and listen to the first one because you are definitely missing out if you haven't already caught it. But this is going to be a little bit different, you guys. So if you did catch last month's, this one's going to be a little bit different. And it's different in a way how each of us are actually bringing our own questions to the table. For the most part, we haven't really shared our questions with one another. So we're going into this a little bit blind. But I'm excited about it because last month, as y'all know that we're here on the panel, like I brought all the questions. So we already knew ahead of time what we were going to be talking about. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm also a little excited because I don't know what to expect. But I'm going to go ahead and dive in. And also, as always, for you guys that are watching this on YouTube, make sure and comment on this video if you have any questions for this next month's panel that you want us to answer. And it's wide open. So whatever you want to ask, just put it in the comments. But thank y'all so much for hanging out with us. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to kick off this roundtable discussion. And I think that what we could do maybe to mix it up instead of like me asking both questions is maybe I think I might actually ask the first one and then we'll just all do one and then maybe circle back around. That's cool, you guys?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So my first question is what's working right now for you? And what I mean by what's working, more specifically, what's working that you see bringing in results, like PRV results. So maybe something that you've been doing for a little while now that it's and I say PRV is as in literally like one order. Like it's gotten you at least the minimum of one order. So traditionally, I'll go ahead and answer my own question. Is that what's working for me, PRV wise? I, in the last month or two, have been reaching out to my customers that have been receiving orders. And when I'm following up with them to see how their, order arrived, all the things, in the midst of me asking them that, I'll also say, hey, if you don't mind, if you have a little time, can you post a photo? And I just say post a photo because some of them are on Instagram, some are on Facebook. So I just say, if you can post a photo and then tag me, I would appreciate it of your order. So that seems to be what's really working for me right now because not only are they tagging me, so that's definitely, and I am seeing results from that because people are like, oh, I didn't know you had a Scentsy person. Or otherwise, they're really loving whatever product it is that they're sharing a photo of, and it's creating conversation around what they're sharing. So I'm not only getting referrals from that, but then also people that want to order or reminding them that they need to place an order because I have customers that are friends. So it's definitely winning, especially because right now I'm not focusing as much on parties per se. So I know a lot of my customers are really busy. They don't have as much time. So I've been really trying to think outside the box as far as working with them and what's going on in their lives. So that seems to be the thing as of right now that's really working for me.
I love that. Okay, should I introduce myself?
What?
Should I introduce myself just in case?
Of course. Why not?
As you can tell, my name's on here, but I'm DeeDee. I've been with Scentsy for 8.5 years. I'm currently living in Mississippi, so we travel. We're full-time RVers. We travel for my husband's job, and we've been doing that for the past 3 years. So to follow up with like Megan's question, is what am I doing that's working for me? Is because I don't live near my customers. They're always paying shipping. So I'm not able to do those bulk orders, local bulk orders. So I've been doing a lot of shopping links, like VIP shopping links, and I've been giving them to my customers, and they've been sharing them with their friends and family and stuff like that. And then they get to collect the rewards. So they're paying shipping anyways, but it's a kind of like a benefit to them by opening up that, VIP shopping link is they're going to eventually get the rewards and stuff like that by sharing that link with their friends and family. So it's it's slowly going. And along with that shopping link, I started adding in one of those the scroll and shop parties, so they can send a link to their friends and they kind of like scroll through and click on different links, since I'm learning how to do that. So that seems to be pretty good too. So I've gotten some orders from people that I don't know, so that's kind of helpful, I think, because I'm not really doing the whole party scene either, because I don't have any local customers yet. So
Yeah,
that's what
I
I'm
love that.
doing.
The magical word yet. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing.
Very cool.
Okay. Hi, guys. My name is Kim, and I have been a Scentsy consultant for almost 8 years. So October of 2017. I live in Georgia, about a half hour south of Atlanta, and it's hot here. Hot, hot, hot. But what I have been focusing on the last couple of months has been our uh, our monthly specials. So like this month, we are promoting the Scentsy Air Quad. I have put a lot of focus on that. I am promoting heavily on Scentsy Club. I am promoting heavily on the curated bundles. So during the month of July, we have new curated bundles that are releasing every single Monday. And so that's basically, I'm not doing parties either. Everybody's out on vacay and just don't have the time right now. So my focus has been on the Scentsy Quads, curated bundles, Scentsy Club, the Whiff Box, something that we are very familiar with. So that's where my focus has been.
Love that.
Yep.
Love it too.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Christine.
taking advantage of those fresh new specials.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love those too.
Yeah.
And then by the way, you guys, if you are watching this after it's been recorded, definitely check that out. It's on your PWS, words are hard, on your website. And if you scroll to the bottom, it's under, what's the tab? Specials, right?
Yes. Specials
Yeah, it's
tab.
under
Under the
specials.
specials or under the collections?
Specials. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because yeah, and I only say that because I'm like, okay, yeah, because I'm the same way. Like I try to look at it like every 2 weeks just to see like what's new on there. And by the way, if you guys are catching this video before the end of July, hopefully, because we still got some time before July ends. But if you are catching this before the end of July, just FYI, there is a ridiculously good bundle that is available right there. And in fact, a little plug-in, I've actually sold 7 to my customers. And it's the Namaste bundle, you guys. And if you are watching this, check it out on your website. For real. It is $22 before shipping and tax, and it's valued about $55. Yeah, phenomenal, phenomenal bundle. And I'm just shocked, honestly, knock on wood, that it hasn't sold out yet.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Good job.
DeeDee, what's up? What's
Oh,
your first question? You're up.
I want to do something kind of fun here. So,
Yes.
I want to just like, because I'm pretty sure that there's going to be some non-consultant people that find this video. So let's just
Yep.
share
Cool.
something that's a sensing moment that you'll never forget, whether it's funny, touching, or something that was totally unexpected. What is your like, favorite sensing moment, I guess? So now they're like thinking about the fact that I have to answer this question now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that like the best thing for me, I guess it was more like a proud moment was when I earned my first incentive. Uh, I earned it, insert income disclosure there. Okay, Megan.
I
But
will.
I
You're
earned the
good.
trip to Marco Island, like 1 year after I decided that Scentsy was something that I could really, really do. So if you watch this first, if you go back and watch the first one, I explain about that. But yeah, I went to my first world tour a year after I joined Cincy, after, I was up for cancellation every 4 months, because back then it was 4 months, now it's every 12 months.
Mm,
And then I learned there that what Cincy could do and how it could impact my life. And I went home and I was bound and determined that I was, always going to hit the certain, PRV, which was 500, because I wanted to have a team member. And I figured that once I got that team member, if I was already practicing that 500 PRV, that as leaders, we have to minimum, that I would already be in the practice for it. And that following fall was when I earned the trip to Marco Island. So that was pretty a proud moment, and it was
very
super
cool.
cool. And that was where I was the only person on my team, upline, downline, sideline, that earned that trip. So it was a
Wow.
super proud moment. Showed me that like I really can, do this, and that when I put my mind to something, that I'm going to achieve it. And um, I met so many people that I looked up to there, and that's where I met Kimberly Polita.
Very cool.
I met her there, and so it was really, really such a memorable thing and a proud moment. So that's my Cincy moment that I probably will never forget.
I love that.
For mine, I probably my first SFR, which would have been, I joined in 2017, but my first SFR wasn't until 2019, which was in Austin. And, going in, and I think just the feeling, just the vibe, and all the excitement from everybody, and the lights and the music, and that was probably one of my biggest moments. My first SFR will be something that I will never forget.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it was fun. It was
I
fun.
love that.
Yeah,
I love the energy at SFR.
yeah.
And honestly, any Cincy event, the energy period,
Hmm.
especially like before I answer the question, like I saw somebody, one of my good friends posted on Instagram, and it showed what he was listening to currently, and it was J-Lo's "Let's Get Loud." And
Oh
I was
yeah.
SFR.
like, "Oh man, nothing like a memory." I said, every time they play that, I'm like,
Yeah.
and I sent him a video, and I said, "Man, I wonder what could happen, like if I could do a special request." Do y'all remember the train song? Like, come on, ride that train and
Yes, yes,
ride
yes, yes.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was this whole moonlight we did it. And I sent him that video and I said, gosh, what if we like could do that instead of the J-Lo song for now on? I
Oh
said
yeah.
I said I would die. Like if they started playing that song instead. But yeah, I very selective of when I listen to that song through the year because every
Hmm.
time I listen to it, it just automatic, like comes back memories every time.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my answer, I was actually thinking, I was actually going to say one thing, but I think that for me, the first thing that did come to mind was I was thinking of what's very memorable was not necessarily not SFR, but my first world tour. So for those of y'all that are not Cincy consultants, my first world tour. So I joined 5.5 years ago. So I joined in 2019 of October, and the following year around January-ish was when we had world tour. And funny enough, like I had no clue what world tour was. My sponsor, or not my sponsor, my superstar director, for those y'all not in Cincy land, so my superstar director, we had a leader that jumped on a video and she explained a little bit about what World Tour was. And at that time, even though I didn't know what to expect and I didn't know what it was, I was like, you know what? I just joined. This sounds like fun. People are gathering. Don't have a clue what's going to be happening, but I'll go anyways. And my memory from showing up to that, which was really cool, was we were in a room and they were doing a like training as far as what was working for that leader and what they were doing in their business. And I can't remember the leader, but I remember what her challenge was is she wanted us to get out our phones. And she's like, if you have a customer or somebody that you talk to about Cincy, I want you to text them and I want you to immediately just don't overthink it. They were like, simply just text them and just say, hey, I'm at World Tour. It's a Cincy event. I'm having so much fun. What do you think about having a party with me? And that like no lie, gave me like heart palpitations because I had never done something like that before. I mean, I just joined, right? Like I was fresh out of the water. I think at that time I actually did have, by that time I had one team member, which I had no clue what that meant at the time, but I was sponsoring somebody, and she had just joined that same month that I went to World Tour. But here I was, and my excitement was the fact that that person replied back and she said, "Sure, let's do this." Was not expecting that. I was like, I was getting sad because it took a little bit for her to answer. And I was like already getting sad about it. And I was already scared as heck, sending that text out, which is hilarious because I was already doing customer follow up, right? Reaching out to everybody. But just the fact that it was like a challenge and we had a little bit of time, I got really anxious. But I was just so excited, not just because they answered me, but just for the sheer fact that I did something scared, and that as a room, as a collective, we were all doing it together. And I was like, that was really cool.
That's
That's a,
awesome. I love that.
yeah, that's a cool story. Cool story.
I got chills.
Uh,
All right, Miss Kim, what's your question
okay,
for us
y'all
tonight?
ready?
Let's
All right.
go.
When it comes to your business, what was one thing that you signed up for, totally scared, but committed to do it, and did
Mm.
you complete it?
Oh, that's good. All right. So you got to answer. That's the rule. You got to answer your first question.
Yeah, you have to answer your question first.
Okay. The one thing that I did is when I hit director status, and a couple of months after hitting director status, I got an email about accelerated leadership program. And I was like, what is this? So I read it and I reread it and I read it again and I clicked a button. I was like, I'm not going to overthink this. I'm not. I knew what I was getting into when I signed up for it. So I was like 100% committed to do it, and I was doing it scared, and it was hard.
Mm.
It's hard. And but I graduated. So that was one thing, and you probably can't see it, but behind this door
Behind you.
here,
Yep.
I have my certificate in a
So
frame.
cool.
So it's a constant reminder, so when I see it and say, I know I can do hard things.
I love that.
So that was
That's
that
cool.
was my scared moment. Yeah.
Ooh, that was so good.
Yeah.
All right. So mine, without a doubt, instantly came to my mind. So was it last year. So for those of y'all that are not familiar, because I'm in South Texas, and Cincy, we have an incredible superstar director that puts on an event every year, South Texas near me, and south of Houston, and it's called H-Town Showdown. And if you're a Cincy lifer, that probably rings a bell with you. Even if you haven't attended, a lot of people don't know about it, but a lot of people do. But it's an incredible event. Just to kind of sum it up, it's a 1 day event. It's so cool because for those that can make it down, it's basically a condensed version of SFR. So that way, if somebody, if it's bad timing or financial, whatever the case may be, if they can't make it to SFR, it's a very condensed version, and it actually happens, I believe, in September every year. And it's just so cool because it's right after SFR. So if y'all are familiar with SFR, we got SFR at the end of this month in July. But yeah, so last year, I happened to be out to lunch with the person that is over the H-Town Showdown, and she was like, "All right, who's doing some trainings for H-Town?" She's like, "We're doing trainings. Who's doing some trainings?" And I was like, I don't know. And funny enough, for those that know me, for some time now, I've done trainings for, gosh, the last 4 years at least through YouTube and Facebook. But just the thought of like this specific person, being like, "Hey, who's helping out at this event? Who's doing trainings?" And there was only like 6 or 7 of us at this table, so it really wasn't like we could hide. It really wasn't like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, or like now, and she was round tabling it like we're doing now. Like she was going around and she was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, like I knew I was last." So I kept thinking about it. And one of the things that I love so much is doing reels. I love doing reels. I have so much fun with them. And she originally had asked me about doing something else, and I thought about it. And because she was like, teach on Canva, let's do Canva. And I was like, oh, yeah, I could do that. But I thought about it. I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to teach on how to do reels. And she goes, oh, I didn't think about that. And y'all, when I tell you, I am so proud of myself and I am so excited. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it because just the amount of fun that I had training everybody, like what we did collectively, like the fun that we had. Everyone did, we actually put a reel together that everyone cohesively got to participate in, that stopped by my booth. But I got to share something that I was passionate about, that I love doing, and it was way out of my comfort zone because I do reels all the time, but teaching people, how to do it or talk about why I love it, that was way out of my comfort zone. And so that was really cool because that definitely gave me like a new level of like confidence.
That's
And
awesome.
you did a fantastic job because I was there.
You were. I know
I
that was
was.
so much fun. And honestly, I'm not gonna, well, I won't be there this year,
I
sadly,
know.
but for the years to come, if there is opportunities to train anywhere in Sensing Land, if it's possible to train on reels, like that's what I'll be training on because that to me is so much fun. I love it.
Good
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah, you did great.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yeah. So my turn. I do have an accelerated leadership graduate
That's cool.
ribbon up here.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, I can understand yours. And I was,
Same.
as I was sitting there thinking about that, that's what I was thinking of too. And I was like, okay, well, Kim just did that one. So let me think of something different.
You gotta come up with something else.
Yeah, I'm still
You're
trying to
like,
think
I
of something
ditto
different
what
here.
she said.
No, that is an intense thing and it's an intense program. And I know people who have done it multiple times and did not graduate and still have not graduated. So
Yeah,
it is
when
definitely
I did it, it was at the same time as my first boot camp. The
me
like
too. That's when I was doing it too.
that's true. Yeah, you and I both did. It was the tail end of it fell right into boot camp.
Yeah.
So either way we look at that, it could be a blessing, but at the same time, it was really stressful. Trying to be present for boot camp, but at the same time locking in those last couple things that we needed for it.
Yep.
The
Yep.
pressure was on.
It
Mm-hmm.
really was. It was great. And Patricia did it at the same time.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, we all three did.
So
Yeah,
yeah. So let me think here. Let's just talk about like doing it scared. Like, cause that's what the question is.
yeah.
Um, I would probably say that my thing was as when I went to my first world tour, I didn't know anybody.
Mm,
I the person who talked me into signing up didn't go. And
mm,
I almost backed out. Like even as I was driving there, I thought I'm just gonna turn around. I'm just gonna go back. I'm just gonna go home. And I get into the parking lot and I'm like, and like my heart's pounding. And then I walk into that room, and you guys both of you have talked about the energy at a
yeah,
Sensi event is like off the charts.
for sure.
And you could like I could hear it like as I'm walking down the hallway trying to find where I'm supposed to be, which really wasn't hard because you can hear it. But I walk in there and I find out where I'm supposed to be sitting. And I'm like, oh, so I have to like scoot past all these people. And I'm all like, excuse me, sorry, stepping on people's toes. And I'm like, I sit down in the seat, the empty seat, and I sit down next to she's no longer a consultant, but we're still friends. And Cassie's like, hi, I'm Cassie. We're going to be friends today. And I was like,
I
"Uh,
love that.
okay. That was like the best thing because I was scared. I even sat there, like even walking in there, I had tears in my eyes, like thinking, okay,
Mm,
I can't do this. I can't do this. And doing something that you're absolutely 100% terrified of doing and you actually do it
mm,
is you can't like I just I don't even I can't describe the feeling of how proud I am or the excitement or the hey, I did that, so let's do this, you know, and it's just continuing on like everything. Um, just one more thing, let's try this, let's do this, Garrett. So
I love
It
that.
goes to
yeah,
show that you're stronger than what you think you are.
it does. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that, and I was actually talking to John about this like the other day or a week ago or whatever. It's just like it's amazing about the things that we can do when we have no other choice to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I can sit here and be like, oh, well, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. And like John does it. But then when John's not here and he's working those 7 days a week and he's gone 15 hours a day,
Hmm.
I can get all kinds of stuff done because I don't have that person helping me at that time because he's,
Yeah,
you know, so it's amazing the things that we can do when we have no other choice to do it. So, but
yeah,
yeah, it's very proud moment. Like those are awesome. All of those are just amazing moments to be proud of, guys,
for
Yeah.
sure. Well, and
ladies.
I think, when it comes to like Scentsy events too, I know that there's sometimes people that are reserved because of that reason, right? Like they don't know anybody or nobody's going with them. Maybe they have to travel or maybe it's been a while or they're coming into it feeling like, okay, my business isn't like how it was before. Whatever their preconceived notions are, whatever heaviness that they're carrying on with them, whatever it looks like. I feel like that it's important to just do it. Like just do it. Like
I
look
went
at
to
it
my
how
first I went to my first world tour all by myself, not knowing a soul.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do it
Well, I brought my
scared.
mom with me, but I didn't know
Yeah.
anybody else. I brought my mom with me because it was in Houston. They were having it at the Galleria, and my mom, we liked the hotel there. So I told her, I said, hey, I don't know what this is, but let's make a 2 day out of it. Let's spend the night. And Laura knows because I love to show up when I show up. And so I told her, I said, hey, we're gonna need to get a hotel room there because I don't want to be late. And that was like the coolest thing ever, just having to ride that escalator down and then it just plopped us right into a friggin' world tour. And I was like, gosh, can this be? I mean, it's not like it's like that every year, but I'm like, can
No.
it be like that every time? It hadn't been like that in a while, but that was just so glorious. But I think it's important too because, if somebody's even like going into a sense event where they're like, okay, I might want to go, I'm thinking about going, but then why bother? Because, everything's in it's a dumpster fire, or like everything, or maybe they're just starting out and they're like, well, why should I go? Like, what's in it for me?
Mhm.
What should, but I think that too, thinking about that, sometimes our aha, like our light bulb moment is not always going to happen at the event. Sometimes it's later on down the road, or it could be who like you were talking about, DeeDee, like who you cross paths with, like who you get to meet. Maybe it's somebody that says hi to, I mean, like, for example, like I had, 2 years ago, had the pleasure of I walked in one of the soundbite rooms. I didn't bring anybody into the training room with me. It was just me. Remember, I sat down. I saw somebody like up on like my like left hand side come in and like sit down beside me, and lo and behold, it ended up being somebody that I had been following for quite some time through socials. I really respect her. I look up to her. She inspires me. She's an incredible person. And I was like, ah, this is so cool. Like she's beside me and I'm nerding
Yeah.
out. And I'm just like this. And to think I almost didn't go into that room. Like I
Mm.
almost was gonna skip it. And I was like, this is everything. Like just sitting there, like I was like, this is the coolest thing ever to happen. But yeah, I'll say, like, if you are watching this and like I said, either if you're a seasoned consultant or you're new to Scentsy and you have yet to attend like any gathering, whether it's with Scentsy consultants or something that Scentsy puts on, like I'm gonna say, like, I dare you to show up. I dare you to do one thing, something that's within your budget, but just show up because even if it's not for your Scentsy business, it's just for the sake of yourself. Like show it for yourself.
Yeah. And when you
Yeah.
meet somebody that you have been following on socials and and you're like, oh my God, I would love to meet them one day. You know what? But when you do, they are normal people.
Yeah.
They are normal people with
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
house and a husband and
Yeah.
and kids and pets and
Oh, and I
they
will say, talk to them, as scary as
right,
that may
Mm.
be. Talk to them and tell them why they inspired you. Like, I
right.
can think of at least a handful of consultants from all over the US, outside the US, that every single one of them, at least I can think of like 5 or 6, like, but every single one of those since the time that I joined Cincy till now has walked me through something, like has shown me something new to try or inspired me to do something, or maybe it's something they said, or I'm like, man, because of that, I'm doing this thing now for myself. And I think it's so important, as crazy scary as it may be, to walk up to them and then just be like, hey, you don't have to do your life story, but just be like, hey, I just want to introduce myself. Thank you so much for fill in the blank, like a Mad Lib. Y'all remember Mad Libs? Like a Mad Lib.
Mhm.
I'm Megan Clark. I just want to thank you so much for showing me how to fill in the blank. Hope you have a great
And they're
day.
normal people. They're
They're,
not up on a
yeah,
pedestal.
yeah,
They're probably got dishes sitting in the sink, and
yeah.
you know what? They're
And
just
also, it's important too to remind ourselves, because I definitely had a moment with one person I can think of where they show up kind of like myself, like where they show up on social media, they're on. Like they're on, they've got this high energy. And I remember meeting them in person and it was like the opposite. And
Mhm.
at first, I will say at first it threw me off, but then I had to think about it after meeting with them and I reflected on it and I was like, well, that was different. The person they are in person is not really who they are online, but I had to remember that I'm the same way. And also we're at a Cincy event and they're just trying to decompress just like I am and trying to soak all in all the things. And they're just tired, and,
Yeah.
and they're just trying to make the most of their day. And I just had to remember that, and not go in it with like these preconceived notions, of who I'm expecting them to be.
right, right.
Oh
Good
yeah,
deal.
definitely.
Good deal.
And
Good
I
deal.
agree, Kim. I mean, I can see two words like reminding everybody like they are everyday people like we are. But at the same time, I think that it's also fair to say that we do get certainly excited about certain people more than others, only because they are constantly showing up and they're consistent. They're consistent on where they show up, where they share. Otherwise, we would be getting excited about everybody else because everybody
Right.
else is showing up. But there's certain people that we follow on social media or we listen to their trainings. Yeah, of course, we're going to be more excited to see them than others because they're a steady, what do I want to say, like visual person, that we're seeing like on a day-to-day basis.
Especially if it's something that you continuously learn from,
Yeah,
because you may not just have that one aha moment.
yeah,
You may have had at this point 100 aha moments.
yeah,
And it is with some people, it's like everything they say just kind of clicks.
yeah. Yeah,
And
because there's some leaders when I first joined, it was so funny because I got most of my knowledge and things that I was doing in the very beginning when I joined from YouTube. And it was like looking at videos that were like from 5+ years ago. And
right,
some of the consultants and leaders that I was listening to and learning the things from I don't necessarily listen to anymore because that was like a different season that I was in. But I
same.
love thinking about how there's just such a wide variety of people that are willing to give more than they take and sharing. And I think it's so cool to think like, okay, when I first joined Cincy, these were like the 2 or 3 leaders that I found on YouTube that I loved. I subscribed to their channel, I listened to their trainings, and then I'm like, oh, blessed release. And then I moved on because it was like, oh, I learned these things and I kind of outgrew them. I think a little bit different now. And then it's like, oh, here's these other new leaders, and this is what they're doing. And kind of like as I guess I like grew along the way with my business, it's like I did the same thing, with whatever it was that they were teaching and sharing and showing.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Yep.
All right. So on to question 2. So mine is like slightly connected to the first one, but it's kind of like thinking about the opposite direction. So it's like, what is something that we've been implementing in our business recently, like something that we're just starting, kind of like getting like a little bit more momentum with, something new that we've been trying out, maybe not necessarily seeing the results PRV wise, but we are seeing like movement, if that makes sense. And then, of course, like me answering it will hopefully like help dive that, into a little bit further with that. So for me answering my question, I would say there are 2 things that I'm trying that are fairly newer to me that I am seeing like movement on. In other words, like seeds are being planted. The final results are not there, but I am seeing movement. So 2 things. One being at the beginning of this year, I took kind of like the subject or like topics that I would otherwise be posting about in my VIP group in the past and took those and applied them now to emails. So, typically like every other day through the week, there's like a theme, and then that's the email is like based on that theme. So it's not just, LTOs, things like that. It's really honing into things that like get me excited, get a little bit more creative. Um, and I'm like, I wish I had it around me. But the couple things that I can think of for those that are watching this video that are like, I know when I first started, I was like, tell me all the things, and I'm gonna do it how you're doing it. So for me, topic wise, so like right off the top of my head, I could think like Monday is typically, I call it um like memory Monday or mood Monday. So usually it's like, what is a fragrance that brings back a memory? I like to take it a step further because I do have photo albums around. So if I can find a photo or on my phone, a photo that pertains to that memory, I'll add that into the Cincy email. Um, Otherwise, what's another one? Like, oh gosh, Wildcard Wednesday. So that for me is sharing customer reviews. So kind of tying back to like me asking my customers to post photos on Facebook, on Instagram, talk about why they love their product. I screenshot that, I get their name out of it, and then that's when I'm emailing out to like my customers. So not as much focusing on the sales, it's more like creating like community and getting them a little bit more like insight, into my life. The other thing, and I actually do have this beside me right here because it came in last month and I've started implementing it recently. So I cannot take credit for this idea. But when I first started with Scentsy, I did kind of like a oh, what is it? Like a rewards program. So it was like for in the past, it was like for every order that they purchased, I kept track of it only because at that time I first joined, right? So I had a smaller customer base. It was more easily to obtain. But back then it was a little punch card and it was like for every order that they purchased, they got a punch from me, like you would any other business. And then they got like a little treat, after 10 punches. So I haven't done that since then because it got out of hand and it was just too hard for me to keep up with. So I just had to move on and, try other things. But that was 5 years ago. So then now I'm coming back full circle. So this idea was actually shared from another Scentsy consultant, but I really love it. So it looks like a business card, but basically the concept of it excuse me, is passing this out to my customers, and for every person that they refer to me, and that customer basically purchases $30 or more, they're keeping track of it this time, and then they mark it off. So there's 10 spots, so it's actually the equivalent of a $300 party.
Mm-hmm.
And it's rewarding them with their own rewards. They just don't know it. So what I like about that is kind of talking about full circle. We were saying earlier that we're not as focusing as much on like parties technically right now, but I like the idea of thinking outside the box where like I actually technically am still doing parties, but just in a different way. So that's actually what this is like, whether they know it or not, it's actually, and then of course I create a rewards link for them. So it's like a party, but it's like a punch rewards card.
Cool.
Nice.
Like it.
Love it. Okay, so something that I am starting to implement, and obviously I haven't been seeing anything yet, is because I move all the time, is I have created these little like connection packets. So inside of my connection packets, there's, a few little things like whatever is going on for the month, like a little flyer that has like our warmer and scent of the month. Like we have Bring Back My Bars in there. Um, our join special, I have like a little card with our join special. And then I got this from another leader when I went to Cancun for leadership. So it's just a little thing of Tic Tacs, and it says we were meant to meet, and then it just has my information on it. And I mean, they're going to probably keep that out of anything. And so every time they open it up, they're going to be like, oh, like remembering that. So it creates that like memory for them that's like, oh,
Yeah.
like this girl was so nice that she gave this to me. So My
That's
goal
cute.
is like every time we move is that I get a recruit in each state that like I move through. And so far I've done it. So now that I'm here in Mississippi, my goal is to, gain a new customer or a new I'm gonna gain new customers, but I want to gain a new teammate here. And so like I can be like, oh yeah, I got one here, and I was here at this time and they got this customer. And so
That's cool.
it's a way for me to be able to make those connections with people where I probably wouldn't have done it before. So it's getting me out of my comfort zone. So
I love that.
I like calling them a connection packet versus an opportunity packet because I want to connect with those people.
I
So
love
that's
that.
what I'm implementing.
Yeah,
Very
for
cute.
sure. For sure.
That's cool. I love it.
Cool. One thing that I have started doing, and it's probably going back probably about at least 2 or 3 months ago. I started doing this to where at the beginning of the month, like right after that, we all learn, okay, this is everything coming in July. This is at the end of July, we go, okay, this is everything coming in August. I used to do my newsletter, and I felt like it was a lot. It was a lot for me to create it, but then I was like, if it's a lot for me to create it, it's a lot for my customers to take in.
Mm.
Like, are they only reading the first part and then like, yeah, I'm done? Or anything like that, So what I've started doing is I have condensed it way down. I sent one out on Friday, and I call mine FYI Friday. And so I send FYI Friday out to every single customer that I have, and I focus on one thing: short, sweet, to the point. It may be, so like last week it was the Cincy Quad Air Special. I focused on that. My name, my phone number, my PWS, call me, text me, email me, message me, very short and sweet to the point. And I feel like that is so much better because
Mm.
they're not being left with, let me just keep going, let me just keep reading, because you'll lose them. You'll lose
Mm.
them. So this coming Friday, it may be about the curated bundles, or but then I am going to put in a little blurb in the next two I send out, about me going to SFR, because I want them to know, be on the lookout. Bolo, I need you to bolo
Yeah.
for what I'm going to be sharing. This is what's coming for the fall. And
Smart.
so I'm getting them excited for the fall winter. Yeah.
I
So
love
that's what
that.
I do. That's what I do.
That's very
So
cool. And I love how
question,
simple it is.
you do that through email?
I do.
Are you doing through the
Yeah.
workstation?
Um, I typically will create my emails in MailChimp because I can customize it, copy and paste it, go to the workstation, do it there and send it. And then that gives me a little bit better insight of who's opening, how many have opened, because that's something that I want to know.
Yeah.
But then I also tell my customers, like I'll jump on my VIP page and say, hey guys, just shot out the Friday email. Um, Sometimes I get a response back, well, I didn't get it. Well, with a lot of email providers, they're dumping it into spam, or
Mm.
with Gmail, you've got spam and you got promotions, so we never know where some of those emails are going, because when it sends out, it's
Good.
sending out a lot of emails. And sometimes the open rate is not as high as what I would like it to be. So I let them know to check here and here and here for that email.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Very
love it.
cool. Well, and like I said earlier, like, I love the simplicity of that too, Kim, especially for somebody that is maybe either just starting out, or, they have been in Cincy land, they've been Cincy, it's the words are hard. We're done. Can you tell it's ready to wrap up? I'm like, I'm having a struggle talking over here. But for somebody that hasn't dabbled necessarily in email, I think that I love that, just sticking to like Fridays only,
Mhm.
most people are kind of winding down from the end of the week anyways. But I love that. So that way it's not like having to do like every, other day, every single day. It's just like, oh, Fridays, it's time for me to send that email out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I love
That's how,
this simple. Pick one product, like you said, share it out.
Mm-hmm.
yep. That's just how I roll with it.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
So, okay.
All right, you guys. Oh, wait, just kidding. I didn't answer that question, huh? I didn't even answer it. Wait, no, I did answer. That was wait, sorry.
That was your question,
Rewind.
wasn't it?
Rewind. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that was my question. I had a moment.
Mhm.
All right, next.
Oh, so my turn.
Yep.
Let's see, I have a whole bunch that I wrote down just in case I needed to change something up.
You're good. That was smart.
I think this is a good one. So what boundaries or habits have you created that help you stay grounded during like all that chaotic time, discouraging seasons, or like teammates who are like sometimes that chaos from constant like teammate, like I know that when we first join we need all of that help, and I'm like Megan and I try to wean them off, like, you know, to become more independent so that they don't, so they're able to create something that's theirs and not create something that's mine that they're trying to like fit into their life, you know. So I try
Yeah.
to like do that. So what boundaries have you done, or habits or whatever? So to answer mine is I definitely my people that are in their first 70 days during, you know, the shooting star and sensational start and stuff. I'm pretty much available for them for like, you know, 24/7, because I really want to, you know, help them and earn those things. But towards that, like I start kind of weaning them off, you know. But I also I have business hours that I have had to create. Um, and I also have my phone going to do not disturb at like
Mhm.
7 p.m. And because as we all know, there's no wax emergencies that you need to be messaging me or calling me at like 11 o'clock at night, you know. So that's what I've had to do is I've had to implement business hours, and I put my phone in do not disturb. And my teammates, I've should like 99% of them are like totally cool with that, and they understand because like they have lives and families and stuff too. So that's what I've done.
Mhm. For me, the same. I set those boundaries, and depending on, I mean, we don't know all the answers to every question. You know, there are times that we have to go, okay, let me go back and take a look at that. But some things we all should know. And, you know, so for either a consultant, one of my team members, if I'm like, yeah, you should know that. I don't answer them immediately. Like I kind of like make them think about it a little bit. And then maybe the next day, did you find the answer? Oh yeah, I found it on my workstation. Yeah. Yeah. You know,
Mhm.
so I agree. And I mean, I've even had to set some boundaries with customers as well. I mean, I've got customers out on the West Coast. I'm East Coast.
Mhm.
And so they may not think about, you know, when they're texting at 8 o'clock, it's 11 o'clock here. You know, there have been a few times I've answered it because I know it's a legit question.
Mhm.
It's a legit question. So, you know, I guess maybe depending on the customer, if I set boundaries or not. So, yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
So I was thinking about boundaries in a way of like my business in itself, like if whether I wouldn't necessarily say like a season, but if I wake up maybe one morning, I'm having like a bad day, or I'm not feeling well, or I'm just mentally bogged down, whatever the case may be. I love putting boundaries in place in a way of, like, I think I talked about this at the beginning of our video where, podcast where it was like, um, pivoting. but then also in a way of really just that. Like, so let's just say I do have like somewhat of a plan, which I do tomorrow, right? Like there's a couple of things business wise that I know I want to check off, get done. But let's just say I wake up tomorrow morning and I'm not really like, not really feeling it, like I'm feeling bogged down. I'm feeling really tired. I make sure to then make adjustments to my day, to know that just like there's not, since the emergencies with our team members and our customers, there's also not a whole lot of like emergency per se to a point in my own business. And it's like, okay, let's maybe pause for the day, go into a little bit slower, move it if I can, to the next day or later that week. Not necessarily disregarding it altogether, but it's just making sure that I give myself enough grace and just room, to breathe, take care of myself, show up for myself, however that looks, on a day to day, and then just kind of make adjustments, along the way through the week.
Yeah. And you have to know that that is totally okay.
Yeah, and it's important to do so, because
Yeah.
I talked about on our last month's, podcast where, I didn't do that before. And I felt like that it was like my responsibility, like any other job, to show up and then put on a front, and fake it till I make it. But it just ended up doing more damage than good. And I wasn't showing up, as my authentic self. And then I just even got even more so like depleted and almost to the point of like burnout, mentally, and it just felt like a lot. And so I think it's important for us to know, especially as independent business owners, that it's okay to pull back the reins a little bit. You don't necessarily want to throw in the towel, but it's okay to really make adjustments, according to whatever's happening, in our life, because Scentsy is incredible and Scentsy is great, but you don't put it number one in your life, because there's other things, that may be more important, not to say, like I said, it's not like it's not on our top three, top our priority list, but it's like I've learned but also, it's finding that balance, because, I've had seasons in my life where Scentsy kept my head above water, and it was my saving grace, and mentally it was just an incredible thing to have. But then there's other times where it's like, oh, I probably need to focus on myself a little bit more, or focus on my marriage a little bit more. And since he's still present, but just making sure that I'm not putting all my eggs in a basket,
Mm-hmm.
with that, like it's okay.
Totally agree. Because I know when we go on vacation, so when we come back from SFR, I'm home for a week, and then Jeff and I are going to St. Lucia for a week. And I can plan ahead. I can schedule some post out,
Yep.
but my messenger is like,
Yep.
no, yeah, that is our time.
But
That is
it's
our
Oh yeah.
making
time.
sure when we're doing that we're doing the prep work, just to make
Right.
sure and not leave anybody hanging, so it's like giving them notice. Like
Mm-hmm.
some do that, for like SFR even. Some are like, hey, I'm out of office. I'll be
Mm-hmm.
out of commission, learning all the things. I want to be present. Because I will say for the most part, I do that. Like for the most part, other than like my customers, where if I do text them and I make it a little bit more fun, interactive, where I'm just like, are you team, team holiday, or you team fall? And then if they're just like, oh, I'm here for the fall, or, I love holiday, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll be sending you some fun stuff here in a little bit. And it's not to where it's like not like the whole enchilada of all my customer base. Typically, there's usually like maybe 3 or 4 people, that respond back to that, and it's more exciting because then it's like I'm not having to do as much,
Right. Right.
planning do diligently.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh yeah. And the thing is too, that's what's great about Scentsy is that it is designed and to fit into the pockets of our time and for it to work around our schedule, and we're not
Exactly.
to be slaves to
No.
because it is it's meant to be a blessing,
Yeah.
and if it's not blessing your life, then we need to reevaluate, like, okay, what do I need to change,
Yep.
you know so
And it's gonna look
I
different for everybody, like
yeah.
it's different for everybody. Like some people, like I remember when I first joined, I didn't mind necessarily working it like a regular job per se, because that was just how I was like, well, this is how I'm going to approach it. But then I realized like, oh, I don't necessarily have to do that. There are some weeks where I'm giving it my all, and then there's others where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do just enough to like show up. I can, I want to be more present with whoever I'm hanging out with. But it's cool, right? Because like, Kim shared like emailing our customers once a week, or like DeeDee, you shared, you've got these packets, these connection packets that you're making. I love that because it's like things that we're continuously building the momentum in our business, but we're not necessarily having to like hit the grind, every single day, being a hustler like we would otherwise have to be, working in corporate America for our other jobs. It's like, man, you can show up, like you said, however you want,
Mhm.
work like 10, 15 minutes a day, or if you want to put an hour, I mean, it's nobody's business, but I think that's cool because it's just so different for everybody. And like you said, it's like it's important to sprinkle Cincy into like your everyday life, not necessarily making your life about Cincy.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just learning the hard way, honestly. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like somebody's going to join Cincy, and they're just going to be like, I'm just going to sprinkle it into my life. No, I feel like it's a lot of lessons that we have to learn to get to that point.
Yeah, totally.
All
Yeah.
right, y'all. So we're going to wrap it up. I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me, doing another month of round robin table, getting to know each other a little bit more. I love this. I can't honestly wait. We're going to do it next month. I can't wait.
Sounds good.
Oh, what a cutie.
I'm sorry. She has to come in here if I'm on a Zoom call. So I guess that
Oh, I
she's
get
just
it.
gonna have to be
Yeah,
my little
she's our little mascot.
our little mascot. She gets so
She's like,
jealous
I
that
would
she's
like to
not
answer some
involved.
questions. She's like, all right, that's it. She made her appearance.
Like I literally had it barricaded. So she worked
You're
and
like,
worked the whole
no
entire
passing.
time to get in here.
She's like, wrap it up, Mom.
You left me out.
She's like, hold up. I didn't even get the Zoom link.
Like you left me out of the Zoom call.
I know, she's very offended.
Yeah.
Next time we'll have to get her her own little square on our video.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put her on a
Yeah, you'll have to
different.
have like your tablet, then your phone, and then she can be on the other one.
Oh my gosh. It's so
All
funny.
right,
I
guys.
actually,
Thank y'all so much.
You're welcome
oh,
anytime.
thank you. Thanks for having
You're
me.
welcome. Yeah, until next month. Thank y'all for so much for hanging out. DeeDee and Kim and anybody who's watching this video, thank y'all for giving us your time, and definitely make sure and check your update your notifications and subscribe to the Scented Success Academy, so that way you're not going to miss out on next month's roundtable discussion. But I'll talk to y'all later, and everyone else, y'all have an incredible day.
All right. See y'all.
Bye.
See you
Bye,
at
guys.
SFR.
See y'all at SFR.
SFR.
Yes.
Bye.